Hi, I'm Eric Crane, the founder and president of WorldLink Associates. I'm here in downtown Minneapolis this evening to talk with Temple-Grandin about the work our organization is doing in the field of autism. In December of 2002, a group of 10 businessmen got together in the suburbs of Minneapolis and decided to create a nonprofit organization called WorldLink Associates in order to promote rural telecommunications development in the country of Morocco. In 2010, our board of directors remarked that there are some rather significant needs right here on our own doorstep. For example, the Twin Cities have become home to over 70,000 Somalis. That's the largest group of Somalis outside of Somalia. And for reasons we don't yet fully understand, the Somali community here in the Twin Cities is suffering from an unexplainable spike in the prevalence of autism. What's even more troubling is that the severity of autism among Somalis is much higher than the national average, leaving many Somalis totally nonverbal as they enter high school. As WorldLink Associates got involved with the situation here in the Twin Cities, we quickly learned that technology can play a powerful role in helping young people with autism. The iPad is a low-cost tool with some built-in functionality that can be extremely useful for people with autism. However, our excitement about the iPad took a sudden blow, and we learned that in most places, Medicaid won't pay for iPads. So at WorldLink Associates, we've decided to do whatever we can to put iPads in the hands of as many young people with autism as possible, and not just Somalis, but any young person with autism. Our work in the area of autism has three aspects. First of all, we're conducting scientific research on the iPad to help us better understand how to use it more effectively as a tool for people with autism so that we can get beyond simply using them for self-stimulating activity, otherwise known as stimming. Secondly, we're raising money to put iPads in the hands of as many young people with autism as possible. And finally, we're working with schools to train them how to use the iPad effectively for students with autism. So this evening, I have the opportunity to talk with Temple-Grandin about the work that we're doing in this area. As you know, Temple, the Twin Cities has become home to the largest group of Somalis outside of Somalia, with over 70,000. And one of the issues that the Somali community is facing is that there's an unexplainable spike in the prevalence of autism right now. Probably even more importantly than the spike in prevalence is the severity of autism. The severity of autism in the Somali community is much higher than the national average, rendering a lot of young Somalis totally nonverbal by the time they reach high school. Do you have any thoughts on either the prevalence or the severity of autism among the Somalis here in the Twin Cities?
Well, we had a big discussion at dinner, and you were telling me like 1 in 25 had speech delays and ended up either nonverbal or partially nonverbal. And we had a big conversation about possible agents that might be poisoning them, like a skin cream that has mercury in it, tuna fish that might have mercury in it. We also discussed all the bug spray they're using for bed bugs, and some of that product may be from China that may be poisoning them. These things need to be sent out to a lab and tested. You know, we're going to have to go get these products out of these Somali stores and send them into a lab and test them, find out what's in them.
Temple, do you think it's possible for these nonverbal Somalis to learn how to communicate?
Well, yes. They can learn to communicate with things like the picture exchange system, where they can push icons, you know, point to icons either on a cardboard book or on an iPad to ask for things. And that can give them a means to communicate. And one advantage you'd have on something like the iPad is when they touch an icon, it will speak for them. Like if they want a drink of water, they can push the drink of water. If they want to use the bathroom, they can push that.
How can a tool such as the iPad help them learn how to communicate?
Well, I think one advantage the iPad has is a lot cheaper than a lot of the dedicated devices. You know, as funding gets more and more tight, we've got to figure out how to do affordable things.
So what are some other features about the iPad that make it particularly useful as a tool for people with autism?
Well, the iPad can replace a lot of big cardboard books, replace some other very expensive devices, but I want to emphasize it's not a replacement for teaching. This is the thing I learned with my cattle handling stuff. When I first started on cattle handling design in the 70s, I thought I could fix everything with equipment. I found you can only half of things the equipment.
Temple, that's a really important point. As we move forward with this work, we need to remember that there's no replacement for good teaching. Technology will never take the place of a great teacher. As you know, one concern that people have about the iPad is that it's not a dedicated communication device. And that means people can do things like play games with an iPad. What do you think about that?
Well, you know, it's like saying you shouldn't use a lot of things. You might do something else with it. I don't think that's a very good reason. Things like just endless game playing and stimming, that's something that teachers have to control that. Again, that gets back to teaching.
So Temple, what is it? Why do people with autism like iPads so much?
Well, it's all the motion. When I was a child, I loved motion. Any cartoons that came on the TV, I wanted to watch that. I liked the way the drawings moved. And I think you can make a lot of stuff move on the iPad. That's a very high interest. Now again, you want to use that interest to motivate and do real teaching and not just let them stim off of it.
So Temple, do you have any other closing thoughts on the situation with Somalis and autism?
The first thing we got to do is we got to test a lot of this stuff that they're using. These products they're getting from China for heavy metals and for pesticides, dangerous pesticides that they're using inside their apartments. That stuff needs to be sent into a lab and checked out. I mean, I understand the health department here did studies on the skin cream they were using, and it was full of mercury. Well, that can cause heavy-duty brain damage.
Thank you so much, Temple. I wish you a very pleasant stay in Minneapolis. If you'd like to get involved with the work that WorldLink Associates is doing to help put iPads in the hands of young people with autism, please visit our website at www.worldlinkassociates.org or give us a call toll-free at 866-899-8028. Thank you.